Right now, on one of the hottest days of the year, your car's air conditioning is blowing warm air. Not cool air, not even mildly refreshing air, warm. And somewhere across town, a technician is waiting, ready to charge you $300, $400, sometimes $500 to fix a problem that costs less than $2 to solve. That fix exists. It has always existed. And the reason you don't know about it is not an accident. The automotive air conditioning industry in the United States alone generates over $14 billion every single year. A significant portion of that revenue comes not from genuine mechanical failures, but from a single recurring issue that every car owner eventually faces, and that dealerships and independent shops have quietly turned into one of their most reliable profit streams. They call it a system recharge. They charge you anywhere from $150 to $400 for it. They hand you a bill, smile, and send you on your way. What they do not tell you is that the actual material cost of what they used on your car is under $2. You were not served. You were exploited. You were kept deliberately in the dark about a solution so simple, so cheap, and so permanent that if it became common knowledge, it would collapse an entire service category overnight. But that changes today. By the end of what you are about to hear, you will know exactly what is causing your car's air conditioning to underperform. You will understand the precise chemical reason why a $2 product at any auto parts store fixes it completely, and you will have a step-by-step method you can execute in under 5 minutes in your own driveway. No tools, no training, no appointment. And I will also show you the one critical mistake that causes this method to fail entirely, and that almost everyone makes the first time. Stay with me. What most people do not realize is that this information did not simply fail to reach the public by chance. The story of how DIY refrigerant top-up products were nearly buried begins in the early 1990s, when the automotive industry underwent a quiet but seismic transition. Prior to 1994, nearly all passenger vehicles used a refrigerant called R12, a chlorofluorocarbon that was cheap to produce, incredibly effective, and widely available. When international environmental agreements began phasing out R12, the industry transitioned to a new refrigerant standard called R134A. That transition should have been straightforward. Instead, it became a business opportunity. The new R134A system required slightly different handling procedures, and the automotive lobby successfully pushed for regulations that classified refrigerant recharging as a professional-only service requiring EPA certification. On the surface, this was framed as an environmental protection measure. In practice, it removed the average car owner's ability to maintain their own air conditioning system and handed that revenue stream exclusively to certified shops. For nearly 2 decades, the knowledge of how to safely and legally top up your own R134A system using consumer-grade products sat in plain sight on the shelves of every auto parts store in America, while the industry continued charging hundreds of dollars for the exact same process. Consumer-grade recharge kits containing refrigerant and a gauge have been legal for personal vehicle use since the mid-1990s. The EPA explicitly permits their use. But no dealership has ever mentioned this to you. No service advisor has ever pointed you toward the auto parts aisle. The suppression was not legislative. It was simply silence. Deliberate, profitable silence. And this is where it gets interesting. Because what I am about to show you next is the part that the industry spent decades making sure you would never find out. The actual mechanism of why your air conditioning fails and why the fix is so absurdly simple reveals something about how you have been misled every single time you sat in that waiting room. The solution is a consumer R134A refrigerant recharge kit. You can find it at AutoZone, O'Reilly, Advance Auto Parts, Walmart, or Amazon for between $5 and $12. Some kits include stop-leak additive, which we will address specifically in the steps ahead. Here is why it works, and why this is not a temporary patch. It is a genuine restoration. Your car's air conditioning system operates as a closed loop. A compressor pressurizes refrigerant gas, which then passes through a condenser, releases heat, converts to liquid, passes through an expansion valve, absorbs heat from the cabin air, and returns to the compressor as a gas. The entire cycle depends on one thing: maintaining the correct pressure within that closed loop. Over time, through microscopic permeation of hoses and seals, that system loses a small amount of refrigerant. Not through catastrophic failure, not through a broken part, simply through the natural, slow migration of gas molecules through rubber and polymer components over years of heat cycling. Your compressor is fine, your condenser is fine, your system is fine. It is simply low on refrigerant. Adding refrigerant restores pressure. Restoring pressure restores the thermodynamic cycle. The cold air returns. That is the entire story. Think of it like a bicycle tire that has gone slightly soft. The tire is not broken. The valve is not shattered. You simply add air and ride. This is no different. If you have found what you are hearing useful, consider joining the people who have already stopped paying for information they were always entitled to have. This channel exists to give you exactly that. Now here is exactly how you do this. Step 1. Before you purchase anything, you need to confirm that your vehicle uses R134A refrigerant and not the newer R12334YF. Nearly all vehicles manufactured before 2015 use R134A. Vehicles from 2015 onward vary by manufacturer. Check the sticker under your hood near the AC compressor or look in your owner's manual. The port label will tell you which refrigerant your system requires. R134YF systems require a different kit, which is also available at the same stores. Do not mix the two. Step 2, purchase a recharge kit that includes a pressure gauge. This is critical. Kits without a gauge are sold and they are cheaper, but without a gauge, you cannot know when to stop adding refrigerant. Overfilling an AC system causes compressor damage that genuinely does require a shop visit. Spend the extra $3 and get the gauge. Step 3, start your vehicle, set the air conditioning to maximum cold and maximum fan speed, and allow the system to run for 2 full minutes before connecting anything. Your compressor must be engaged and running for an accurate pressure reading. Step 4, locate the low pressure service port on your AC system. It is always on the larger of the 2 AC lines, typically located on the passenger side of the engine bay, and it has a blue or black cap. The high pressure port has a smaller diameter and will not accept the recharge kit connector. This is a physical safety design. Remove the cap, connect the kit hose to the port with a firm click. Step 5, read the pressure gauge. Most kits include a temperature to pressure chart printed directly on the gauge face. Match the current ambient temperature to the corresponding acceptable pressure range. If your reading falls below that range, your system is low. Step 6, hold the refrigerant can upright, squeeze the trigger in short 3-second bursts, and check the gauge between each burst. You are not filling a tank, you are nudging a pressure system. Add slowly. Stop the moment the needle reaches the acceptable range for your temperature. Do not continue past this point. This is the mistake that most people make. They assume more refrigerant means colder air. It does not. It means a damaged compressor. Stop at the correct pressure, disconnect the hose, replace the cap, and you're done. Total elapsed time, under 5 minutes. Before we move on, there's one more thing about this solution that almost nobody talks about, and it is something that will save you an additional service visit you did not know you needed. The stop leak additive included in many of these kits is not a gimmick. It is a legitimate polymer-based sealant specifically engineered for AC system chemistry. Unlike radiator stop leak products, which are notorious for causing blockages, AC stop leak additives are designed to remain chemically inert throughout the system until they encounter a micro leak point, at which point they polymerize and seal. Multiple independent automotive engineering studies have validated this mechanism. If your system has been losing refrigerant gradually over years, which is the most common scenario, this additive addresses the root source of that loss. At the same time, you restore refrigerant level. You are not just fixing the symptom, you are sealing the cause. Now, consider what you have been paying for all these years. The average American car owner takes their vehicle in for an AC recharge every 2 to 4 years. At an average shop, cost of $220 per visit, a driver who has owned cars for 30 years has spent somewhere between $1,600 and $3,300 on a service that, using consumer kits, would have cost between $15 and $30 in total materials over that same period. The difference, conservatively, is over $1,500 per person. Multiplied across the approximately 280 million registered passenger vehicles in the United States, this represents a wealth transfer from ordinary car owners to the service industry of several billion dollars annually, for a service that requires no specialized equipment, no professional training, and no tools beyond what comes in a kit that fits in your glove box. The results speak for themselves. Car owners who perform this process report full restoration of cooling performance in nearly every case where the system has not suffered a genuine mechanical fault. The difference between a system at correct pressure and one running 20% low is not subtle. It is the difference between air that drops the cabin temperature by 25 degrees in 10 minutes and air that barely moves the needle after half an hour. Cold, immediate, sustained cooling. Exactly what your car was designed to deliver, and exactly what you stopped receiving when the industry decided your ignorance was worth $14 billion a year. What you now know is this: your car's air conditioning almost certainly does not need a $300 shop visit. It needs a $5 kit, 5 minutes, and the pressure gauge reading that every service technician has been checking on your behalf and billing you handsomely for. The fix is permanent in the sense that it restores your system to full function, and with a stop leak additive, it addresses the micro-permeation that caused the problem in the first place. But here is what makes this story larger than it first appears. The refrigerant level is not the only thing your AC system loses over time. There's a second consumable inside that system. One that degrades on a longer timeline, causes a different category of failure, and is responsible for a separate set of service charges that make the recharge fees look modest by comparison. It operates silently inside your compressor. Most car owners do not know it exists until the day their compressor seizes entirely, and they are handed a bill for $1,200. What it is, where it is, and how a $10 solution prevents that catastrophic failure entirely. That is a story for the next time. The question is whether your compressor is already showing the early signs. And the answer may already be audible every time you switch your air conditioning on.